Alright, Shalom, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and salutations unto the elect pushing the truth of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Alright, this is the Renaissance part 3. I'm going to get into it a little bit more. In the last video, I showed information from the book African Presence in Early Europe by Ivan van Sertima. And I kind of went into the scriptures a little. I'm going to get a little bit more just to bring up more information. It's not necessarily following a specific timeline. It's just basically, scattered information about the Renaissance, if you will. This is not like a project, but it's funny. I went on Blue Letter and just what I was going to get into, the Spirit, manifested, as you see right here on the screen. Portraits of Christ in the Old Testament. So you have these Christians, these plantation Christians out there, these grape juice drinking Christians. They'll tell you, okay, Jesus Christ, the color doesn't matter, whatever, he wasn't white, or it doesn't matter, basically, Well, so how come you show these kind of images? Right when you go on Blue Letter, anyone can access this, right? It's blueletter.org, blueletterbible.org, and right when you see this is psychological warfare right here. This is what happened during the Renaissance. This is the exact same thing, man. As you see right here, it says portraits of Christ in the Old Testament. That's a psychological attack right there, because it's affirming it. It's not. No one's here to question it. No one is gonna. Majority of people that go on here, they excluding the brothers, of course, the men in the truth. But majority of people that come on here, they see that and they're gonna just take it for face value. They're not gonna research it. And no one is questioning them on this, so they can establish themselves as an authority and just put up this bullshit, right? But then when we're on the highways, we tell people, and these are the same people that go on these kinds of sites, and when they close their eyes, they see white Jesus, and we ask them what color is Jesus, they say it doesn't matter, or we don't know, or what does it have to do with anything? So what does this have to do with anything? Why do you put these images up? See, this is a term we're going to get into. It's called iconoclasm, which iconoclasm means breaking of images. Icon is a Greek word meaning image, and klasm means to break. And how did they break the original images? The majority of them, they painted over them. It was through a chemical process where they would just paint right over them. There are chemicals they can use. I don't know if it's with alchemy or whatever, but there are chemicals they can use that take the pigment off, or bleach, right? Of course, bleach the icons, the mosaics, the frescoes, etc. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the scripture here in Job 15:35. This is talking about Esau, which we can read up even. We can 34. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. They conceive, and it's twofold, because Jake are hypocrites, because it says in it was Isaiah 34, against a hypocritical nation, I believe. But Esau's the ultimate actor, man, because he'll tell you he's a Christian and this and that, and then he'll just commit genocide, right? Verse 35, they conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepared deceit, man. This is talking about Esau. Okay, that same serpent in the garden, right? This is talking about Esau 100%. They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity. Vanity means emptiness, nothingness, and their belly prepareth deceit, right? Which belly in the scriptures is not talking about your belly, man. It's talking about your mind. All right, but although the gut nowadays is called the second brain anyway, because there's a lot of how should I say this, neurotransmitter that react with the brain, and when they say you have that gut feeling, it's connected to your brain. So in the scriptures, it's the same thing. It's talking about your brain, but your belly doesn't think, but it's deemed today as they know it as today as a second brain. All right, your gut. All right, so that's Esau, man. They prepared deceit, man, and that's what they did during the Renaissance. They prepared deceit 100%. So I'm gonna bring out this book. This is called The Borgias by Marion Johnson. All right, this is the Borgias, and the Borgias family. They were the original crime family of Europe. They came out of Italy, and they took over the papacy. whichever way you want to say it, under Pope Alexander VI of Rome and his son Cesare Borgia, all right, or Caesar Borgia, as you know him as. There's an HBO special on him. There's also an old YouTube series. I think it's from like the 80s or 90s. But this is from page 156, and it reads, "As crime continued to thrive in Rome, so did the Borgias, the great benefactories of a criminal papacy." You see that? And as you see here on page 157, this is the Pope right here, so-called Pope, the dope. All right, this motherfucker right here, this wicked man. All right, this is the father of Cesare Borgia, and he's the one that gave the authority to paint his son as the new Christ. All right. Let me just read out. I'm going to go to page 157. It says, "There were further evidence of his fallibility when, on June 27th, Alexander was the victim of a bizarre attack. As he was about to begin an audience in the Sala dei Pontefici, violent summer storm blew down a chimney stack which crashed through the roof and collapsed the floor above the Pope's head." You know, Mosai was wicked family, man. This was a wicked, wicked family. While Alexander was recovering from his wounds, a still worse tragedy struck at his house. Since the Pope had changed his alliance from Naples to France, the two Neapolitan partners of his younger children became something of an embarrassment. Driven from Rome in the previous year, Alfonso de Bisceglie and his sister Sancia returned to their spouses in 1500, but they lived uneasily in the midst of the Borgias. And this goes into detail, man, you know, about certain things that they were doing, but I'm just gonna skip around. I'm gonna jump around, man. But you know, it described it as a criminal papacy. I'm gonna go to page 163. Page 163. All right, this is a very good page right here. As you see here, this is portrait sketches of Cesare by Leonardo da Vinci, because Leonardo da Vinci was hired by the Pope Rodrigo to paint his son as the new Christ. After the fall of Milan and his patron Ludovico il Moro, Leonardo found employment with Cesare or Caesar as his chief engineer, his main tasks being to supervise fortifications. And as you see here, this is the image right here. This is the new Christ. This was a man. That's why when we're telling you people out there about this kind of information, all right, that the image of so-called Jesus that you're looking at, and you believe with all your heart, you believe that was actually a man walking on the planet. That was actually a person walking 5 centuries ago, and he was a very wicked man. All right, that's not Jesus. That's a counterfeit. All right, that's a fraud, man. That's what he is, a fraud. Page 163. Despite the setback at Faenza, it was clear to Italy that the Duke of Valentinois was a prince in the making, and he began to attract to Cesena those indispensable acolytes of the great Renaissance lord: scholars, artists, sculptors, craftsmen. You see, these devils, they were rebuilding themselves as a nation during this time. All right, that's why they had all these people, these scholars, artists. So what were the scholars doing? They were rewriting history, taking shit out of the libraries, burning shit up, right? When the Spaniards came to Central America, Mexico, they had so many scrolls and books, the indigenous of Mexico, the Aztecas and even the Mayas. Of course, the Mayas, can't forget about them. They had a lot of scrolls that the Pope, he said we have to burn them, and they burned the majority of them. A lot of them they actually kept though, and there's actually, I forget how it was called, man. Shit, it was called it was like a Latin name for a scroll. But there's a couple called the Borgia Scrolls. I don't know if it's actually called scrolls. It might be called under different pseudonym or a different kind of name. But yeah, there's some called the Borgia Scrolls because they sent those scrolls back to Spain and Portugal and Italy, and they studied them, and they had their scholars look into it, and they found out that those were Israelites. Because you had Bartolome de las Casas, and you had other writers, man. They wrote about it in the accounts that they were writing, that these people were Israelites. So this is the Renaissance is all about Esau coming back, man, to power, right? It says scholars, artists. What are the artists doing? They're repainting and saying that those Moors and those people that ruled, they were white. They were Edomites. Artists, sculptors, right? Chiselers, craftsmen, and all those who labored to enhance the temporal glory of great men. That's funny, man, because that's what brings to mind is Ecclesiastes, man. It was Ecclesiastes 7:10 and 7. It says, "I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth." Right. So this is Solomon, man. He was a prophet. He was a king. He was the Yahushai for those that can hear it, man. Those that have ears to hear and eyes to see. So he was a very great man, clearly. So he said he sees servants upon horses. Who are the servants? These Edomites. Because it tells you that the elder shall serve the younger. The elder was Esau, the younger was Jacob, but Esau was supposed to serve Jacob. And a horse represents what? Power. Right? And princes, what does Israel mean? Yashar Allah, he's a prince of God, or he's a prince of power. And princes walking as servants upon the earth. Clear, man. The princes are walking, we're like the servants, we're the poor. That's why it says the poor, blessed are the poor, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth, man. It's not talking about a poor Edomite or a poor Elamite. They have their structures, man. They have their organizations. They have their seats in the UN. Not one of the people on the sign, they have a seat in the UN. The so-called black Americans don't. The Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, the Cubans, the West Indians, none of them have a UN seat. So we are the servants walking upon the earth. The Native Americans, they don't have a seat. The Seminoles, they don't have a seat. The Ecuadorian, all the people, man, all the people on the sign. So there it says, and all those who labor to enhance the temporal glory of great men. That's all Esau's doing. He just has a temporal glory, meaning it's meant for a time, and then it says he's loose for a little season, right? It tells it in Revelations 20. The duties of this prince were manifold. He had government to attend to, art to encourage. What kind of art, man? Put one and one together, right? And then we're gonna get one last thing from this book. No, that was actually it. Yeah, that was the point, really. All right, now I'm gonna go into this next book here. The Spirit is coming out with this history, so we gotta get into it, man. But again, all you have to do, just type in deceit in the scriptures, and you'll find. It's all talking about Esau, man. This is Psalms 10 and 7. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. See? Oh, Jesus is white, God is white, the angels are white. And then when you confront them, it doesn't matter. Why does it matter? So why do you have them in the majority of your churches? When you have your infomercials, when you have your little pamphlets, the Jehovah's Witness pamphlet or the Presbyterian pamphlet or the Roman Catholic pamphlet, and you always see the same images, but it doesn't matter. So put up a black image. A so-called black, because we know that's scriptural. There's plenty of scriptures that show you the likeness of the Most High. It details the likeness of the Most High. His son came in the flesh, right? Okay, let's not deal with the Most High, right? Let's leave that alone. Let's deal with Yahushai. Yahushai, the Lord Jesus Christ, okay? He came to the planet in the flesh. He wasn't. We had all kinds of people saying all kinds of shit, man. Oh, he was just a mirage, or he was just a spirit. No, then if he was a spirit, how the hell did the nails pierce him? How was there a crown of thorns put upon him? How did it bleed and cut his flesh? He had flesh then, so the flesh must have a likeness, a color, right? A tone. Oh, he was olive skin. All kinds of shit, man. You people, but like I said, you people are gonna find out the truth straight in the middle, man, to your face, whether you like it or not. It's gonna hit you right dab in the face, man, in the forehead. Now this is a book called The Art and Architecture of Medieval Russia by Arthur Voice. Okay, and again, you can try to find these books. I've had these books for years, man. So I'm not gonna tell you 100% you can find them on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, or I got some of these books from libraries, man. I got some of these books from library sales. The library where we used to go before camp, we used to have study sessions and we used to break down scriptures or do lessons. Sometimes they would have a $1 book sale downstairs, and I got quite a few books from there. I got like 4 or 5 books for $1 that are really good. So you just gotta look around, man. Just search for it. Go on Amazon.com, .ca, check both of them. Check Barnes and Nobles. Check your local used bookstore. There's one I always go to, or we always went to as a camp, man. It was a really good bookstore. It was a Jake that kind of ran it, but the boss was a Khazar, and I got like at least like 15 books from there, man. There's Bibles in there. There's history books, all kinds of stuff, man. All right, for a decent price. So you got to look around. If you're diligent, you look around. Um, this is page 95. It says mosaics and frescoes. Although only a small part of the original cathedral and its mosaics have survived, there is still much to be admired in the imposing dimensions of its interior, its fine proportions, and the luxuriant mosaics and frescoes. Many of the latter, still in a good state of preservation after 900 years, are wonderful specimens of a great age in ecclesiastical ecclesiastical art. That says, but the work of restoration, while approached by Professor F. G. Solnzig with pity and respect for the original, was executed rather crudely. So restoration. This was the time of, again, Renaissance, restoration, same thing, rebirth, all the same synonyms, right? Many of the frescoes were disfigured. So what does that mean, disfigured? Right? Iconoclasm, destroying of images. And in the 1880s, because some of these jakes, man, they were ruling up into the 1800s, man, in certain parts of Europe. 1880s of the mosaics were also subjected to restoration, and in the process, the original elements were covered over with paint. So what is that? That's iconoclasm. The original elements were covered with paint, man. So what they do, they take the original images and they bleach them or do whatever, they paint over them. This is page 96. Next page, the renovated frescoes are in bright luminous colors, but the original frescoes, especially those in the semi-dark side chapels, lighted by the fair glow of the icon lamps and flickering candles, impress one with the severe beauty of the ancient images. These are old icons, man. The faces seem to stand out especially clear and sharp, stern and somewhat rigid, with wide open eyes looking into the distance. It seems as though they were frozen in this attitude of contemplating the face of God. You see? And then I'm going to get one more page on 228. And there's a lot of icons in this book. I could show you. I could show some, but there's like at least like I don't know, man, like 20, 30 icons. All right, but I'm going to go to page 228. It says, while Novgorod, imbued with the old traditions, was adhering to dark flesh tints, idealization of expression, simplicity of composition, and close harmony between its figures and background, Moscow strove for picturesqueness, used warmer colors, more accurately portrayed human forms, and endowed human features with a certain grace and worldly expression. And again, like a lot of the Russian icons today, they're still dark, man. Like if you look at this, there's so much, man. I could just show you. I just want to point some out. But like here, this is Archangel Michael, right? This is the Archangel Michael. Um, there's a lot of different icons. See, this is the mother of Yahushai, which again we know it went into a lot of woman worship and Semiramis with the child, of course. Yeah, this one right here, you're not gonna be able to see. You gotta see with the eye. But here, this is Yahushai on the cross. All dark skin images, man. and a lot of them are still up. A lot of them they did uh, uh, paint over. You know, they did a lot of madness, right? They disfigured, man. They it tells you what we read, you know, that they bring out fraud, man, right? That's all they do is bring out fraud. You know, that was a point, but I'm gonna get one more thing. In this book, the same book I brought out in a couple days ago, African Presence in Early Europe. This is from page 252. I'm gonna read down here. It says, was it worth the search and the costs? Having now had the opportunity to go through both volumes fairly thoroughly, I would have to say yes. Mind you now, McRitchie, this is the guy I was talking about, I found the page, was no friend of black people and didn't seem to be particularly proud of the historical activities of blacks in the regions under study. So this dude McRitchie, like I said, he wrote that book, Ancient and Modern Brits, I believe. Yeah, Ancient and Modern Britons. And you know, he proved the opposite, that Israelites, black people were ruling in those parts. And these Edomites, they're dead set Edomites, man. They don't like Israelites, blacks, Latinos, and natives, and you know, their mind is set against you. But the research that they do is so in depth, is so meticulous that they find the truth. It's not like they're not researching. They're researching that they have all kinds of access, man. Access that you can't get in a library. You know, like a Library of Congress or, you know, something to that effect. It says, uh, but who cares, right? He wasn't fond of black people. I think that on this issue, Chancellor Williams strikes the nail right on the head. Even the most hostile racist writers usually prove the very opposite of what they intended. Their works inevitably contain useful, factual data that must be accepted. Indeed, it is doubtful whether anyone, even a devil, could write a book completely devoid of truth. You see what the man said? I don't know if this guy Chancellor Williams is the Edomite, but he even said, even a devil, right? Because like we brought out the scripture in Job, man, thine own mouth condemneth thee, not I. Thine own lips testify against thee, and not me, right? So these devils, the Most High put the spirit on some of them to research and tell on themselves, right? Because the Most High, that's his sword. He can use it however he wants to. He can use that sword on himself. Esau, and the Most High is going to make these devils, Esau, the sword, use Esau's blessing, the sword, against themselves. They're going to destroy themselves, man. That's why they're known as the son of perdition, son of destruction. That's what perdition means. Research in African history is more tedious, laborious, and time-consuming than is true with other unsuppressed fields. For in developing the undeveloped history of the blacks, one has to explore the most unlikely sources for a fragment here and a fragment there. Because why? Because why is there no continuous fragments? Because they destroyed it. It was a time of their restoration. So there's certain pieces they cut out and they destroy, and you gotta piece them together. That's why you gotta get all kinds of random books. You know, when I was doing the history lessons, the Most High put a spirit on a brother to message me every 2 weeks, and he would give me a list of 20 books, and I didn't know this brother from a hole in the wall. I never even seen his face, but he just said, "Yo, you're doing a good job," and he was even, his name was Yeshua Moshiach or some shit like that, and I was like, who's this guy? You know, like, cause I was really iffy for people that use that Yiddish and broken Hebrew, man. You know, but hey man, whoever he was, man, he might be of the elect, cause that brother was a big help, man. He didn't have any videos. His channel was blank, but he would watch my videos and watch other Israelite camps videos. And he would just every like 2 weeks to 3 weeks he would, yo, shalom, and he just send me like 20 to 25 books. Check these books out, and I go on Amazon or my different sources, and I would try to pick the best one and do the spirit. I can buy all them books, and all them books were like $5,000, man. If you got the new and polished brand new ones, but certain books, you know, I'd spend $100, maybe $200 on, and I would get maybe 3, 4, 5 books, and majority of them turned out perfect, man. Because certain books I never even seen, you know, and the spirit will hook it up, man. So there's different helps in this truth. There's different kinds of brothers, man. I didn't find these books on myself. This was given of the spirit, man. You know, I researched certain books and I found documents and the spirit worked like that. But you know, this is all a body thing. That's why the brother from again the Chicago camp, shalom to that brother, Malcolm, I believe, the head brother. the elder man, he's getting into it, man. He's, getting in that history. So through the spirit, Lord's will, we'll get more into that. Like as you see here too, right? It says right here on the side, black Norman knight and his lady, a Norman knight, right? You see, he got the get up on and everything, and his woman is what, he got himself a concubine, which a lot of you fairies out there, you get your panties, wrapped up in a bunch over. Family crest from Britain with pronounced Afrosoid features from Britain. I see a black woman with a crown. She doesn't. She's not a servant. She's not playing get up. All right. This is a real family crest, man. You can keep going right here. Another black woman with a crown. Family crest from Britain. You know. And there's a lot of stuff like that here. I can't go through everything. I actually lost this book, man. I had the physical copy. That's why I have the ebook. But I used to know the ins and outs of this book, but you forget over time. But it goes into a lot of stuff. It shows a lot of crests. If you look up, this is Tyr or Tyr, an early woolly-haired Norse god. Israelites worshiping themselves as God. They went off. Same thing that happened with the Greeks, right? Same thing that happened with the Israelites in Rome. Septimius Severus. They talk about in this book. So it's a decent book. You can probably find it online. Type in African presence in early Europe PDF or online. You might find it online, right? King of France is the illegitimate daughter, known as the Black Nun of Moret. But there's a lot of prestigiousness in this book. It goes into Queen Charlotte Sophia, wife of George III of England, which George III was a black man. Okay. Um, it goes in, man. This book goes in. You see, this is Jacobus Capitine, you know. But this book is worth to get into. If brothers are kind of learned already, not new brothers, because these books, I'm gonna give brothers a warning through my experience. Um, they have a lot of bones in them, and if you can't separate the bones, look, this is a remake of a sketch of a Moorish sultan and an emissary. It's a Jake, man. It's not an Arab. You know, you see Moors in Morocco carrying all kinds of treasures, incense, resources. This is some real history right here, man. Arrival of a Moorish dignitary. Like royalty. This is royalty right here, right? But you gotta distinguish, man, with the bones and the meat. You gotta get the meat from the bones, because there's a lot of bones. Bones meaning untruths or lies. This is really Hannibal. All right, this is a coin of Hannibal the Great. Which they got Vin Diesel playing Hannibal, but which he's a Jake anyway. Vin Diesel is an Israelite, but he was a dark-skinned man, Hannibal. All right, so hope you brothers ratified. Again, if you look up these books, just don't get in too deep. All right, I was kind of getting too deep, and then Mosai took that away. So all you need is the scriptures, man. I can tell you that. I can tell you that right now. That's all you need is the scriptures. Pope Gelasius, the Black Pope, all the popes before the Rodrigo and the 1400s, the Renaissance, they were all Israelites. All right. So I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Thamyad, the water for letting me bring this out, and double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone, the great men upon the earth that rule well, and salutations unto you brothers out there keeping the faith. May more edification come out, and you brothers' strengths your faith be strengthened. All right, shalom.